Our planet is teeming with diverse beings, each with their own way of life. For example, there are 17,500 species of butterfly, 6,500 languages, and more than 4,000 varieties of potatoes. Such entwined humans and non-humans go by the term biocultural diversity. And yet, our natural world is rapidly becoming less colorful and less diverse. Around the world, individuals and communities are rejecting this path, working to promote biocultural diversity. We can think about nature and capitalism as a mangrove forest, which are forests that grow in water. The tree above the water represents what is valued in the economy, commodities like shrimp, forest products, oil palm, and so on. What is below the water is a whole tangle of roots, soils, fish, microorganisms, human knowledges and ecological practices. The biocultural web of life that supports those commodities above the water. But these complex and crucial lives are not valued in our current economies. Some believe that we can protect biodiversity by proving the economic value of the work done by those below the waterline. This is called enterprising nature. But what is the monetary value of nature? For example, what is the value of a diverse standing forest? Enterprising nature involves placing a value on the services that the standing forest is already providing, like storing carbon and purifying water. Such payments for ecosystem services are meant to tip the scales away from monocultures, to make forests worth more alive than dead. Enterprising nature is about calculating and paying for the unvalued work of nature. It can be seen as an attempt to produce what theorist Michel Foucault called a permanent economic tribunal for life. What lives, dies, and thrives is decided by the supposed objectivity of dollars and cents. But the task of making nature enterprising is difficult. First, how do we value the contribution of a single tree? And is the value of a forest in one place the same as in another? And which area or species is deserving of an investment? Second, even if we calculate that forests are worth more alive than dead, who is going to pay to keep them alive? One can now purchase forest carbon credits on a market, but the annual amount of money circulating in the entire forest carbon market is only $250 million. Compare this to the value of oil palm, running at about $61 billion. Third, there are heated political discussions about the whole approach. Who decides how to value nature? Who or what is causing biodiversity loss? And who should pay for biodiversity conservation? Now, despite these challenges, some countries and institutions still propose to expand ecosystem service markets to bring more cash into conservation. But such proposals are fiercely debated. For some governments and organizations, biodiversity loss is a result of hundreds of years of colonialism. The global north has benefited at the expense of extraction and pollution elsewhere, largely in the global south and in indigenous territories. Which means solving biodiversity loss requires vast redistributions of wealth, payments for ecological debts. Some argue that turning nature into a commodity will only deepen the crisis. Instead, they call for a justice-oriented response to biodiversity loss, challenging the logic of an economic tribunal for life. The idea of enterprising nature is a provocative one. Essentially, it's an attempt to green capitalism by revealing the unpriced and unvalued contributions of the biocultural web of life. But so many of our cultural, political, and economic systems are rooted in a deep denial of our dependence on nature, of those under the waterline. There seem to be no enterprising shortcuts to solve the monoculturing of life on Earth.